The second week of July is in full swing, and professional wrestling fans are absolutely ready to ingest as much wrestling programming as possible. Whether you're watching a weekly television program or you're watching one of the 4 pay-per-views this weekend. Yes, I know WWE calls them premium live events. That's stupid. They're pay-per-views. I'm always going to call them pay-per-views. The thing is it is absolutely great to see 2 companies in healthy competition. Sure, we could have a discussion about the counter programming if we want. Maybe I'll do that at some point. But the thing is whether you are going to be at All in Texas at Globe Life Field or you are going to be at one of the 3 WWE shows that are taking place between Saturday afternoon and Sunday evening, you are going to be satiated. And even if you're just watching on your television, on a media device, with a router, whatever it is, whatever you do, just enjoy professional wrestling. Appreciate what these talents bring to the table. And appreciate that they put their bodies on the line. And let's just enjoy professional wrestling. But we got to start basically at the beginning of this weekend. And I'm going to talk about 2 of the WWE offerings and give my thoughts on what I think will happen. And then another one will be saved for its own video, and I'll explain why. I'm John Rentham with my WWE NXT Great American Bash 2025 predictions, as well as my WWE Saturday Night Main Event in Atlanta predictions. Give me your predictions in the comments, please. Evolution 2 will be its own video because I have a few things to dive into. So let's get into it with the Great American Bash predictions. Now, I will say I have kept up on a little bit of NXT. I haven't watched weekly NXT in a while because I just can't take the cartoonish bullshit. Now, I don't mind some aspects that some fans seem to hate, but I can only watch so much wrestling every single week. I'm just saying that. So let's start with Jordynne Grace and Blake Mariah Monroe May. I know what her name is, but I think Mariah Monroe would have been better, against Jacy Jayne, the current NXT Women's Champion, and Fallon Henley. So, because Jordynne and Jacy are facing off at Evolution 2 the next night, Fallon is going to be the fall girl here. Now, I could see a blind tag situation where, Blake possibly gets a victory over Fallon, wins for the team, and then it's like, yeah, I won. Or maybe, Blake is like trying to do this, gets a tag to Grace, or Grace does a blind tag. You do some kind of situation where you're going to tease something between these 2. Jordynne and Blake will get the victory. And all due respect to Fallon, but Fallon is going to be the one to take the fall here. It makes the most sense. Gives just a little bit of a push to Jordynne. And then Blake, I think, is going to have just a little twinge of jealousy. It's going to be like the Gin Blossoms. Hey, jealousy. I can go really dated on my music reference. But who the fuck remembers the Gin Blossoms? Do the Gin Blossoms even remember the Gin Blossoms? Are they still alive? Who is alive is everybody in this match, thankfully. That would be very hard to have a match with a corpse. But Jordynne and Blake will get the victory, which will tease just a little bit of what will happen at Evolution 2. So then we get for the NXT Women's North American Championship, Sol Ruca against Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame has a good look, and I don't really necessarily know about the group that she's involved in. There's too many stupid groups in NXT. There's a Temu Shield, or Temu, however the hell you say it. Then there's a Shawn Spears group, and there's the one that Charlie Dempsey leads. Too many dumb. Chase U's got to be the most offensive one. But I digress. Sol Ruca has been a bright spot. She is very athletic. I just still cringe at how she lands because, she blew her knee out at one point. I mean, she's thankfully back, but her and Zarya have been a good team. They've had, few run-ins / a little bit of teasing, teaming up with Tatum Paxley, who wants to have some more friends after her other friends got fired. But Izzy Dame is not going to win this. She doesn't need to win this. Sol Ruca needs to win this because you need to build up to Zarya and Sol eventually having a friendly scrap where one of them will eventually turn heel. And no offense against Izzy Dame, I just don't think that it is a good idea to give her the title here. So Sol Ruca gets the victory. And then we go to a match that I know basically nothing about besides one competitor, Jasper Troy. I might have seen one match that he's in. Him and Javon Evans. Javon Evans is a very athletic guy that is probably not going to be walking by the age of 30 if he doesn't slow down. He's great. Don't get me wrong. He can do spectacular shit. Look, Javon Evans will probably get the victory. I think it's the match on the card. But they'll love him. They'll love Javon Evans. I look forward to seeing what Jasper Troy can do. Ethan Page against Ricky Saints in the feud that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends, in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the North American Championship. Ricky will probably get the victory here because he lost the title to Ethan, and many thought that Ricky was going to be called up. So I think Ricky is going to gain it back here. If he doesn't, then you might as well call him up for something at SummerSlam. I don't know. Maybe he's in Cody's corner, and then Cody wins, and then he attacks Cody afterwards, and we do that turn real quick. Now, I don't know if they'll do it that quick, but Ricky Saints is going to get the victory. This feud has been all right, but it hasn't necessarily sparked my interest. And then we get Obafemi against Yoshiki Inamura. Inamura is from Noah. Josh Briggs is in his corner. If I remember right, they were a team at, I think it was Stand and Deliver, if I recall correctly. It's an NXT title match. Obafemi will get the victory. And let's just move on from that. So let's go to the Saturday night's main event predictions. So, LA Knight against Seth Pheasant Rollins. Whoa, whoa. I know that he's actually he's the leader of this new group that has just not interested me. And I know the point is Steiner is going to get, the big push coming out of this group. And I do also want to say, as of now, only 3 matches have been announced for Saturday night's main event. I just didn't want to wait until either Thursday or Friday if they would announce any on SmackDown. I don't necessarily care. They could let these matches go longer. They could have a talking segment. They could have Jesse Ventura be the old man yelling at clouds again. But LA Knight, they've done the best they can having LA Knight trying to get revenge on Seth's group. But let's be honest, Seth needs to get this victory here. Now, he could lose and then do something later in the night to get his, heat back, so to speak. He could do something to really anger the crowd by the end of the night, which I think he will end up doing. But I think Seth is going to get I don't see... If LA Knight wins, great. He wins and then what? Challenges Seth later on? I mean, it's not the worst idea. LA Knight's kind of just stuck in that upper mid-card thing where I don't think he's ever going to break out of it. So even a victory over Seth I don't think is going to help him. He could win, and then what do? I think Seth is going to win. I think the match will be filled with hopefully just good action and not really a lot of run-ins and distractions. So let's go to Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. So I think that Drew McIntyre is going to take this because he just came back on the taped SmackDown. There's no point in Drew McIntyre getting his, loss pinned on him right here. Randy can take it. He's Teflon. And you could build up to another match at some point, perhaps at SummerSlam. But Drew could cheat, and that could build up to Falls Count Anywhere street fight, something like that or whatever, where these two guys will be able to beat each other up. But Drew McIntyre needs this win. Randy could still sell the back from the King of the Ring finals, and Drew could target that, and they could make that a thing where you use it occasionally for like big matches, and this is a pretty big match. Even though these guys, to be perfectly, they've had good matches in the past. I just don't know if you can do a long program. You might have to end it at Clash in Paris. But Drew McIntyre's got to get the victory. So now we have Gunther versus Bill Goldberg. And Bill Goldberg's retirement match where it's for the world title. Okay, Gunther could possibly win here. And it would be Bill Goldberg's last, hurrah. But Gunther could win, and then what I think is going to happen, though, is Seth is going to end up cashing in. So, I think they're going to have Bill Goldberg shock the world. He's going to win, and then we're going to get, Seth cashing in. He's going to pin Bill Goldberg with a stomp, that kind of stuff. And you then can build up to, and I actually forgot about it, you could build up to Rollins and Punk and everything. And I think Punk will probably try to make his presence felt, but it's not going to end up, stopping Seth this time. But then you could get Seth versus Punk at SummerSlam. That's a money match, and that's something people could get invested in. And then that's really all that there is to say about Saturday night's main event. I just want to talk about those particular events before I move on to Evolution 2 in the next video, because I don't want to make them too long, kind of want to make them bite-sized. But yeah, I think Bill Goldberg's going to win, and Bill Goldberg's going to get cashed in on, which I'm going to hate because it's just giving Gunther a short title reign. But if Gunther wins, great. I mean, it brings it gives him just more, like vitriol from the fans. But unfortunately, I think Bill Goldberg's going to win, and he's going to get cashed in on, and then it's going to be a nice way to send him off into the sunset, like where he should have been for at least the last 7 years. Because, bless him, the guy has been, the example of the law of diminishing returns since he came back, for more and more stuff and everything. I understood up to Mania 33, but didn't need to go past that. But I know he came back for shit pots full of money, and I don't blame him. But it has been time. It has been, more. Father Time has latched on to Bill Goldberg and will not let go of Bill Goldberg. So there you are. Bill Goldberg wins, Seth cashes in, and then Seth moves on to SummerSlam as the champ. So there you go. What are your predictions? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland. Until we meet again, happy trails to you.